What's the most unreasonable demands you have ever had from a roommate? I'm a dude who was in a serious relationship. This was after she tried to pull open the bathroom door as I'm taking a whiz. Because I want to see your... Yeah. Well, when you let me see it, is it bent or something? And just before she told me she wanted to teach my girlfriend how to do something better than she already does because I deserve it. As I'm on the phone with the girlfriend telling her all this insane crap, she insists on talking to her, then proceeds to tell her she's upset I haven't proposed yet, because we would have a beautiful wedding and she would be a bridesmaid. When I was living with this chick, I had friends of friends adding me to Facebook just to follow the stories of anarchy that was living with this nut job. Oh, and there was the Romanian chick who, after 2 days, thought I was going to marry her so she could get citizenship. I had to call the police to have her forcefully removed after 6 days. That is, after I woke up to her watching me sleep. So basically, a roomie had to leave for work in a flash and I needed a new one ASAP to help with rent. Some chick hits me up on Craigslist and it turns out we were both really close, but out. We meet and she seems odd, but cool. From Romania, but here for school. Just need it for 60 days. Agree on a price and she gives me cash on the spot. Whoa. Fast forward, she's moving in. A night table with 2 suitcases. That's it. The room wasn't furnished nor advertised as such. Moved a couch into her room. Ugh, whatever. I head to bed and she comes in, asks if she can sleep in my bed because she doesn't like the futon. No. Next night I come home to her smoking in the apartment. What the heck? Her excuse? You didn't say I couldn't. She mows down on food that is mine. Damn, this isn't going well. Wednesday she comes home late and what appears to be a bit buzzed. Comes and sits on the couch and begins to try and cuddle up to me. I ask what's going on, and she says I'm nice and she wants to get with me. I explain that I've got a serious girlfriend and that we were roommates only. She goes to bed, but I can hear her on her computer in her room. I head to bed and then promptly woken up around 4 a.m. to her standing at the end of my bed with the light on, watching me sleep. Me. What are you doing? Her. I was sad. Me. Why? Her. Can I sleep in your bed? Me. No. Her. Can you sleep with me? Hold me, please? Me. What is wrong? Her. I'm lonely. Me. I'm sorry, but that's not appropriate. Please go to bed and please do not come into my room, okay? Her. Okay. Whoa. Now I'm wondering how freaking quick I can get her out. This is a disaster. Thursday night she comes home late and thankfully nothing happens. Friday though, it changes. I decided to stay with a friend and I get no less than 10 calls from her starting at 11 p.m. up until 3 a.m. Her reason? The kitty's scaring me. What the f***? Me. What is she doing? Her. She's touching me with her head. Me. Pet her. Her. I'm scared. Me. Then go to your room and close your door and stop calling me. Saturday, I go out and get a text at 1 a.m. Kitty passed away. I call her immediately and she basically says, Cat passed away, I don't know how. I come bolting home and it takes no more than 15 minutes. And this time she's gone to bed. I find the cat perfectly okay and I'm in a rage, naturally. I nearly kick her door down. She wakes up and I proceed to basically scream at her about all the crap she's pulling. I realize somewhere in there that I'm so freaking mad I have an undeniable urge to just rough her up. I call a friend to come over and walk away. Sunday rolls around and I explain it's time for her to leave. Permanently. She won't. Long story short, I called the cops and after she gave the cops about 5 excuses why she shouldn't leave, then telling them they don't know the law, and then the law doesn't apply to her because she's not a citizen. The cops end up being a little unsure, so they call their captain, who then wakes the justice of the peace, a judge, out of bed for clarification. Basically, because we shared a kitchen and bathroom and she wasn't on the leash, she becomes an unwanted guest and has to leave. She tells the cops to go screw themselves and nearly spits on them. They tell her she leaves now or cuffs. She then goes into panic mode, tells them I her. Now, I am not a fan of ignoring those claims because that's freaking terrible, but the cops basically laughed at her. In the end, she left wearing track pants, no socks, and small shoes and a tank top, no bra and a jacket, nothing else. They make her sign a paper in front of the cops that she needs to bring a police escort to get her crap the next day or the day after. Otherwise, I'm throwing it all out. This is in the middle of January. Well, she had no change of clothes and refused to take on. Unreal. She ended up moving back to Romania in the end and then found me on Facebook a few years ago and tried to ask if she could visit. No freaking words. Now to the showstopper. Let's call her Julie. So as the first chick leaves, Julie comes by to check the place out. We crush a bottle of wine and have a lot of laughs. Seems cool. Loves the place. We get along well. She moves in. This is January. As the spring and start of summer go on, she's cool. We routinely go out for wing and pool, watch the game, etc. I'm still in a long-term relationship with a girl who's at school in another city a few hours away, but she never seems to go out on dates. She's a mess employment-wise and a bit of a ditz, but I can't believe she's not meeting people as she's pretty hot. Oh well, I'm in business, right? Summer comes and suddenly our outings turn into, I forgot my purse. Can you take care of it and I'll get it next time? And can I borrow like $40? She would rarely pay me back, began eating my food, drank a bunch of my booze, and that's when I decided this was the end of the line. She begins to get needy and I refuse to help her. I begin keeping the booze in my room and don't keep much food in the house anymore. I stop going out with her and that's about that. She finally goes on a date with a guy, gets super dolled up and off she goes. Comes home and says he was crappy, but some other guy gave her his number. She seemed to enjoy that, and now is all excited to see new dude. Now our neighbor who is across the hall is this early 30s dude who's a total gym bro kind of guy, and always comes home at like 2 a.m. on weekends with a gaggle of hot women. I'm not even joking. He'd roll in and they'd all go out to the balcony we shared to smoke, have a beer. I can count at least 2 instances where he knocked on my door asking for rubbers. I would happily oblige. Gotta help a brother out, right? So she brings this date over and it's like midnight. Next door bro stays in, but has at least 3 women over and his bro friend. Julie proceeds to get wasted while her date dude just ends up hanging out with me and a buddy on the couch laughing at this whole mess. Julie tries to take him to her room, but he refuses. She keeps trying. He keeps saying he'd rather chat with me and my buddy. She goes next door and comes back wearing a Viking hat. Tells her date, who's now been talking with us for an hour and is currently sitting right beside us, that she needs him to go to her room. He laughs and says that's not happening. She leaves next door. He decides he's going home and takes off. She's still next door partying. My buddy leaves. She comes back in, sees I'm cleaning up, asks me to come down the hall, asks where her date is. I say he's gone home. She tells me she'll do me. I refuse, call the girlfriend, tell her, and head to bed. It's about October now, and she's beginning to get flirty with me even more. Just before the end of the month, I tell her she has 60 days to leave. She doesn't believe me. Explain there's no discussion. January 1, she's done. For a few weeks, she's been an ultra witch. Ignores me, just gives me dirty looks, and just spends a lot of time in a room pissed off with me. She's making no real attempt to find a new place to live. I just laugh, because I know my rights from the last mess, and January 1st, she's done, regardless of what she thinks. Now it gets interesting. She changes her tune and begins being super friendly. She starts asking me a lot of questions about my intimate life over a couple days. I ignore or deflect most of them. I don't want to cause a scene, as she's basically a full-blown alcoholic at this point, and I just want her to relax and leave me alone. A few days later, I was simply curious as to what she was going to say. This must be hilarious. She tells me to come with me. I'll show you. I cautiously walk down the hall and she tells me to come to her room, begins to describe what to do, looks me dead in the eyes the entire time. I'm looking dead back at her, ensuring she doesn't try and kiss me. What I don't notice is that she's now dropped her sweatpants and grabs my wrist, pulling it towards her snatch. She's wasted. I put her into bed like nothing happened, then close the door, check in on her 5 minutes later and she's passed out cold. Pants still 1/4 the way off. I chuckle and close the door. About 2 weeks later, I'm wrapping Christmas presents. She sits down and begins rubbing my foot and ankle and asks if I want a foot massage. Asks what I got my girlfriend for Christmas. Girlfriend calls me moments later and Julie insists to talk to her. Now I can hear what Julie is saying, but not my girlfriend. Only she's telling me exactly what is going on over MSN Messenger. Hilarious. She hands the phone back to me, runs to the bathroom, and pukes on the floor. She ends up in the kitchen instead and then tries to pose against the wall and says, "We've been living together for 8 months and we still haven't gone together." Which in itself is hilarious. Only we had been living together for 11 at this point. She asks if I want to kiss her. I tell her no. She says she won't tell anyone. I insist. No, go to bed. She just won't take no for an answer. But she's hammered enough that I can lead her to bed and just leave her there to pass out cold. About a week later, she tried again. I come home and make a beeline to the bathroom. Gotta whiz like a racehorse. I close the door, pull out Old Faithful, and that's when she begins trying to open the door. That night ends with her back on the phone with my girlfriend telling her that we should get married so she can be a bridesmaid in our wedding. Only I'm an idiot. As they go off the phone, I tell her, "What the hell? One moment you want to get with me, the next you want me and the girlfriend to get married and be a bridesmaid? Do you not understand what you're doing is messed up?" She makes a couple more passes at me, but nothing too wild. Then when she realized I wasn't giving in, she became a super witch again. About a week later, she comes home and her key doesn't work. She flips out, says I changed the locks and calls the police. I don't get the calls as I'm on the subway, but by the time I get home, the cops are just rolling up. They don't even make it to the door when I see them and ask if they're there for me. They are. I explain what's up, they get to the door and she's sitting there screaming at me. I ask for her key. She gives me her key ring and I open it up immediately. She's baffled. Turns out she was using the wrong key. I explain that she has 2 days to leave and the cops back me up. They basically tell me to the side I'm insane not to kick her out right now. She ends up coming to me to kindly ask to leave a few days late, and I oblige in the condition she keeps to herself and just stays out of my way. She does. Leaves a few days later and that's that. Or so I thought. Turns out she was misusing welfare. She was working for cash, making about $15 an hour. but claimed unemployment and welfare. I ended up reporting her for that, and she got investigated. No idea what came of it, but she, like the other one, hit me up after the dust settled. First it was a, "Hey, I'm in the area, I should come say hi." Then it was a knock on the door. Then it was a phone call asking if she could talk to me because she wanted to apologize. After a few questions, I told her I'd meet her for coffee. We do, and she basically apologizes because she was a mess, blah blah, asks to be friends. I tell her I'd think about it. She pursues a few times and I shut her down. Finally, one day she says she and her friend are in the area and they want to come by so she can show her where she used to live. I agree. It's like 10 p.m. on a Friday. They come in, we have some wine. Julie gets wasted. Her friend and I continue to chat. Julie pukes. I tell her to go home. She ends up going home in a cab. Leaves her friend. We get to chatting more and I explain the insanity that was Julie. Her friend isn't all that surprised, but is a little shocked. Yes, I ended up getting with a friend. This was after me and the girlfriend in the story broke up. In fact, like a month after, so it was a nice little bonus. Chuck went up to confidence boost. Heard from Julie one more time. She found out her friend got with me. Lost her mind. Told me I was an a-hole and to never talk to her again. That was easily 3 years ago. Holy hell, that was a roller coaster of events. The friend part was so savage. Oh, and hey, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. Story 2. Number 1, I'm going to throw out all of your cleaning supplies if they aren't green or eco-friendly. The irony was completely lost on him. Number 2, the utilities are my bill, so you're not allowed to turn your PC on. Number 3, that I leave my door unlocked so he would have access to my room while I was at work. Number 4, stop cleaning the kitchen, especially when my friends are here. I can clean up after myself and it just embarrasses me. Well, history and the state of your bedroom has shown that you can't, and I'm not going to cook my food in filth because of your pride. Number 5, didn't believe cleaning the bathroom was a chore, so he refused to do it. I had a huge argument with him, and he said that by its nature, it's just always clean, so he wasn't going to do it. It was clean because I kept getting grossed out and cleaning it. Story 3. Not a roommate, but my upstairs neighbor. I moved into a basement apartment that had been vacant for a while, and the guy that lived above me, he was not the landlord by the way, was a freaking Fruit Loop. He came downstairs and informed me that I wasn't allowed to lock the outside doors to any part of the building. Told me that I couldn't lock the door between the common laundry area and my personal storage space because he liked to dry his shirts in there. Told me that he had to sleep with his subwoofer on with his TV full blast. His bedroom was directly above mine because he had PTSD. Things started getting moved in my apartment, and I caught him on camera coming into my apartment when I was not home. I immediately started calling the cops on everything he did, complained to the landlord, and he ended up getting evicted. I now have the best neighbors in the world, and I'm hopeful that I will never see this guy again. You know he's planning to come after you, right? Story 4. I'm in college and this past August I moved into an apartment with 3 friends of mine. One of them I wasn't as comfortable with as the others, let's call her Karen, but I was optimistic. Shortly after we moved in, Karen accused me of being the messiest one out of all 4 of us in the kitchen. I definitely didn't agree. I may have left a pan out a few times or not loaded the dishwasher, but I was by no means a pig. Almost out of spite, I decided to start being overly clean about the kitchen. I immediately washed and put away anything I used or ate off of. I labeled and kept track of all my groceries in the fridge. And most importantly, I did not touch any of my other roommates' messes. I've since watched dishes pile up for days, watched fruits and veggies spoil on the counter, and dug up some truly rank leftovers from the recesses of the fridge. It's all Karen. She's the only one who does this. Literally right now there's rice that's been sitting in the rice maker for 5 days. I watched her make it on Saturday and disappear into her room for 48 hours. I'm just waiting for another accusation. Story 5. I lived with a girl who had a dog. He was a great dog. I loved the dog, but she was not my dog to take care of. More than once, my roommate would be out drinking and so something sleazy and would blow my phone up demanding I rush home to let the dog out or feed her, whatever. I could be in class, work, or with a friend, but whatever I was doing was less important than what my roommate was doing. Same roommate would call me at work often and demand I provide a key so her, that sleazeball boyfriend, could get into our apartment. I refused. Same roommate would get hammered, lock herself out of the apartment, and kill my phone battery with texts, calls, and FaceTimes to come get her. I did it once. Next time it happened, I left her outside for 3 hours to sober up. 3 hours after, she was still so drunk she couldn't stand. The 2 times this happened were on New Year's and 4th of July. Both times she fully expected me to leave being with my friends, find a cab, fight traffic, and get her sorry worthless bum. Happy to say I've moved out and no longer know her. Story 6. I let a friend move in when she was having a really hard time. Mother died recently, a cruel relationship, financial disaster, cruel stepdad. Knowing that she does not have any money from a close family, we agreed that she would move in and find a job, help with the rent, etc. And since I loved her a lot, I was okay with paying for everything, including food and other household-related costs, for a short while, until she gets a job. Big mistake. She basically refused to work, refused to look for a job, refused to help with anything at all. I refreshed her CV, sent her dozens of job applications, ads, you name it. I sent it to her. But no, she just refused, saying that nobody was calling her back. She got up around 10 a.m., ate whatever she could, watched a few TV shows, read for a while, downloaded some movies without asking, ate again, used my makeup, chatted with other friends, then went to sleep. This went on for 2 months. Might I add, I was working an entry-level job at a multinational company, so I wasn't exactly swimming in money, but I had a nice sum saved up for an upcoming trip that I'd been planning for over a year. Then she started to ask for money and ask to see my online bank account. She started to say stuff like, "I don't get it. People have a lot of money, why can't they give it to the poor? To those who don't have any, instead of wasting it on meaningless things?" I kicked her out after 3 dreadful months, saying that the owner was selling the house and I'm going to live with my brother. She ended up moving in with another friend. Haven't heard about her since. Dodged a bullet. I'm hoping you said no to letting her see your bank account. Story 7. I had one warn me that she was having friends over for brunch the next day, so I wouldn't be startled to wake up and find a bunch of people in her dining room. Knowing I was an introvert, I suspect she was hoping to just avoid the situation entirely. I got up, headed to the kitchen, prepared to make a customary polite hello and be on my way. It turns out this brunch group is 98% people I knew and was reasonably close to. She could have been blunt enough to simply say I wasn't invited. I could have at least respected the honesty. Same housemate had a mutual friend of ours stay overnight. They waited until I took a shower to decide they were heading out for dinner, taking the rest of the housemates with them and leaving me with a note saying they'd reschedule the communal meal they were meant to cook that night. There's a reason I haven't contacted her since we parted ways. Wow. Was she trying to fade you out? I hope you enjoy the video, and if you made it this far, I'm sure you'll also enjoy. What was the most unreasonable rule your parents had? Story 4 was so not cool. See you in that video.